Hi, everybody. Joe Cioffi here. Weather in 5 days and 5 minutes. It's 5 o'clock on Monday, the 2nd of October. And there's no Joe and Joe weather show tonight as Joe and I took a 3-day weekend. However, we will be back tomorrow night at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. Meanwhile, a lovely day up and down the eastern seaboard. We've got a high in southwestern New York, western Pennsylvania, which is in a really good spot because it got rid of the onshore flow. When we look at the surface map, that old system is way out to the southeast. No concern here. It's going to be nothing but this warm high that is going to be sitting in the eastern part of the United States, probably through Thursday, and that is going to have impact, of course, when it comes to temperatures because they're headed up. Here's the satellite loop, and you really have to go all the way back to the northern plains and in the west where we've got some action with storm systems and clouds, both in the Rockies and back up into the Pacific Northwest and also up in the northern plains. But everybody to the east just enjoyed a really nice day, even down into most of Florida, having a very nice day indeed. Radars are pretty silent. There's some shower activity way down in South Florida. And we see showers for New Mexico northward up into Wyoming and west into Idaho and Utah. And also a fair amount of rain coming into the Pacific Northwest in Washington State and in Oregon. But again, not much happening. This is good payback for what happened late last week with the flooding rains. I'm sure we wouldn't have, we'd rather not see flooding rains on the order that we saw it, but now we're getting the payoff in the other direction with the weather nice, and if you like some late summery weather, well, that's what you got. Severe weather tonight, pretty much up and down the western plains. And for tomorrow, as we take a look at what the Storm Prediction Center is showing, it shifts it a little bit further east from southwest Texas up through western Oklahoma and in through central and western Kansas and on up into Nebraska. The marginal risk goes all the way up into northwestern Minnesota. And with that ridge holding, it means any kind of thunderstorm and frontal activity is really going to have a tough time coming eastward until the ridge in the east breaks down. And it will break down. Now, we do have the chance for rain later Friday into perhaps early Saturday. This is on the order of a half to 3/4 of an inch from southern New Jersey north and east. You get up into northern New York and the northern half of Vermont, New Hampshire, and of course all of the state of Maine. We're talking 1.5 to maybe some 2.5 inch amounts. Very dry in the southeast with no rain forecast for the next 7 days in areas from interior North and South Carolina, much of Georgia, back west into Alabama and Mississippi, and into the northern part of Florida. Big rains across Texas and into Oklahoma on the order of 1.5 to as much as several inches there. Now, we talked about temperatures, and I just want to show you here the Weather Service forecast highs for Tuesday. This was for today. Let me just move it on to Tuesday because temperatures are headed up. We will be into the lower 80s on Tuesday across eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England, and maybe some low and a few middle 80s as you go down through Virginia and North and South Carolina. Wednesday, I think, is going to be the warmest day of the week for eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England, as we're looking at temperatures in the low to even middle 80s in inland spots. Now, there will be a wind off the ocean, so areas along the shore and across Long Island and southeastern New England will probably be mostly in the 70s. Let's go middle to upper 70s. Maybe a few warm spots touch 80. And if you go up into northern New England Wednesday and upstate New York, we're seeing a lot of spots upper 70s to near 80 in Maine and low to mid 80s across Vermont, New Hampshire, and into New York State. Thursday, we're going to start to see those numbers come down as the wind off the ocean starts to settle those temperatures back a bit. And then Friday, with the approaching cold front, we'll be in the low to mid 70s, and we start to get into some showers. The changes in temperatures will come after that front goes by. We'll still have some leftover 60s here on Saturday with 50s well inland, but by Sunday, I think it's going to be quite cool with most highs in New England and in upstate New York and Pennsylvania in the mid and upper 50s, and coastal areas will probably be topping out in the lower 60s. So, it's a fairly straightforward pattern that we're seeing here. There's not a there are not a lot of players. Excuse me. There are not a lot of players that are involved. So it's the big high and waiting for the big high to move out. It is overhead for Tuesday. It's overhead for Wednesday. Still hanging on for Thursday. But again, a little bit more of an onshore flow. On the lower right, you'll see Tropical Storm Philippe. It's way out to the southeast and really no factor here. Here comes the cold front for Friday. We'll start to see some showers and maybe some thunderstorms. I think the best chances will probably be Friday night into Saturday morning, and then improving weather conditions after that. And then we've got cooler air, much cooler air. It's going to take us to below normal temperatures, I think, beginning Sunday and lasting probably through much of next week, at least the way the pattern is shaping up. But other than that system for later Friday night, and early Saturday, the rest of the time, I think, is going to be mostly on the dry side with no big storms on the horizon. All right, folks, have a great evening. Hope your weekend was great. Start of a new month, getting deeper into the fall, a little bit of leftover summer going on now, and the Joe and Joe Weather Show back tomorrow night at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. So we'll see you then.